Coming back to us now is joining us Oliver Slope from Blue Line Futures. Oliver, talking about this meat and pork like this, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that today is National Cabernet Sauvignon Day, and now that it's afternoon, I can actually start to talk about it because I thought it would be a little bit out of order if I brought it up at 10:30. People might get the wrong idea. So anyway, it's National Cabernet Sauvignon Day. I just thought I'd get that out there, talking about the meats. But talking about the meats, what do you have to say? Anything interesting in the cattle and livestock?
Well, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere, so I don't think anybody would judge you if you got a head start on us. But lean hogs have been relatively quiet, and you hit the nail on the head there earlier. All the action has been in the cattle complex, and we're continuing to see that sell-off. Looking at December live cattle, 7 consecutive lower days, and this is just kind of feeding on itself and snowballing. And there will be a bottom. Things will get better, but it could get worse before it gets better. We're still waiting for that kind of peak panic capitulation type trade that might come from margin departments forcing longs out of their positions. And once we get that peak panic flush lower, I think that's where the buying opportunity presents itself. And looking at a chart, it's tough to pinpoint that because the market becomes so much more emotional, and emotions lead to irrational trades. But the 100-day moving average for the December contract comes in at 130.60. So that's kind of the target that we're looking at to step in and be a buyer of this market. Feeder cattle, same type of deal, obviously just kind of broke lower, retracing the breakout point from about 2 weeks ago. I hope we can find some ground, but the big thing we're going to keep a close eye on here going into the end of the week is if corn continues to find relief, will that bleed into some pressure in the feeder cattle to wrap things up?
And maybe we get a little bit more, a better look tomorrow with the non-farm payroll report. I brought it up the last couple times here that, if we see a significant miss, and that might back the Fed off of their plans, you could see that dollar weaken with interest rates going down, or at least coming off a little bit. And maybe that's something that we see gives our row crops, or, the grains and those things a bump. And then that could obviously add to what we've got going on over here in the cattle market. So I think tomorrow will be an interesting day. Because this is a big number for the whole trade and with what the Fed's been telling us they're going to be looking at. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. I wanted to last with, I like how you said, emotional trade then turns into irrational trade, and then that brings on opportunity. How about that? All right, thanks, Oliver. That's Oliver Slope from Chicago at Blue Line Futures. I'll hand it back over to Janet.